The hearing itself is over. Now the parties are speaking. We've heard from family members. It's time to go back inside the courthouse where they have set up a press conference with law enforcement and prosecutors. Let's go in and listen.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Dahlinger, and I am the Chief of Police of the Moscow Police Department. Thank you for joining us. Today marks the conclusion of a case that has profoundly impacted the University of Idaho, the City of Moscow, the State of Idaho, and communities nationwide. Today's sentencing of Bryan Kohberger brings the legal process to a close, following his conviction for the brutal murders of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Bogan, Xana Kernewell, and Ethan Chapin. While this marks the end of a long and challenging journey through the criminal justice system, we acknowledge that for the families, friends, and loved ones of these four young people, the grief does not end, because the losses are permanent and the pain remains. We want to express our deepest gratitude for their strength and resilience during this challenging time. We will honor their loved ones' memories and reaffirm our commitment to ensuring their lives are not forgotten. This investigation, one of the most complex and high-profile cases in our state's history, was made possible by an extraordinary level of collaboration. From local and state police officers to federal agents and analysts, as well as prosecutors, forensics teams, and technical experts. It also took immense courage, patience, and resilience from a grieving community whose role was invaluable. From the very beginning of this tragedy, Moscow Police Department and our law enforcement partners never lost sight of the mission, which was to bring justice for the victims and their families, and to hold accountable the person who committed these horrible crimes. Despite the complexity of this case, our team never wavered. They never gave up, and we completed the mission. During this investigation, I was fortunate to witness the level of professionalism, expertise, drive, and passion that each member of the investigative team brought to the overall effort. And it was truly awe-inspiring. To all who came to our aid and assisted in this immense undertaking, I cannot express my gratitude enough. We are forever thankful. And I would be remiss if I did not thank the amazing communities of Moscow and the University of Idaho. For weeks on end during this investigation, the support you provided to our team was greatly appreciated. The numerous phone calls, letters, and seemingly endless stream of food helped keep our spirits high and encouraged us to press on. Today, we want to provide an opportunity to hear from the key agencies involved in the investigation, prosecution, and overall response to this case. Each agency played a vital role in pursuit of truth and accountability. Further remarks will be provided by the Latah County Prosecutor's Office, followed by the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Office of the Attorney General. Each speaker will provide brief comments, followed by a limited Q&A session. With that, I'd like to introduce Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, representing the Latah County Prosecutor's Office.
Thank you, Anthony. Welcome, everybody. It's been a long time since we've been able to stand in the same room together. You have to listen to me talk. I'm sorry. First off, I want to thank the folks here in Ada County. I can tell you I would much prefer to be in Latah County right now and be able to talk to the people most directly impacted by this. But Ada County has been a phenomenal support and protector for the integrity of this case, and I just want to send that shout out right now. So today, you are all, I think, listening in, either in person or with the live stream. We have reached the conclusion of the judicial process, and we believe we've achieved accountability and finality and certainty for everyone who has suffered from this, so we can try to move on. As you are aware, Mr. Kohberger pleaded guilty to all 5 counts of the indictment. He pleaded guilty as charged. There was no plea bargain to change charges, drop charges. He pleaded guilty straight up, and he admitted under oath to Judge Hippler that the allegations are true. He has also received a life and death sentence, and that he is going into the Department of Corrections custody, and he will remain there until he dies. And our communities are protected from him. Our communities are safe from him. And we have finality and conclusion, not just for the families, but for everyone who suffered because of this. Chief Dahlinger talked about the extraordinary teamwork on this case. And I can tell you that Ashley Jennings, my senior deputy, and I, we were with the investigators from day one. We worked as a team beyond any team that I've seen in my almost 33 years as a Latah County prosecutor and 45 years as an attorney in Idaho. This level of collaboration is indescribably phenomenal. And in this room, we have representatives of the FBI, and here, of course, Special Agent Grover. We have representatives from the Idaho State Police. We have representatives from the Moscow Police Department. We have representatives from the Office of the Idaho Attorney General. I can tell you, I will be forever grateful for the assistance that Jeff Nye, the head of the criminal division, and his deputy attorneys general, Ingrid Maddie, standing beside him, offered to us. I don't know that we would have been able to reach the conclusion that we have today as successfully without their brilliant and dedicated work. And they too have lived this case from the get-go. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families, not just the immediate biological or legal families, but the university family, the 1122 King Street family. You all saw the group picture, and you've seen that group picture so many times over the past 2.5 years. And now you have real faces to go with those young, vibrant people who, 4 of whom were killed 12 hours, half day after that picture was taken. We respect the families. We realize that we had tough decisions to make, and we made them, but we did not make them in a vacuum. As I said in court today, we reached out to the families. We asked their thoughts. We listened to what they had to say. We accept and recognize that not everybody agrees with the decision we made, but this isn't a popularity contest. And we made what we thought was the most appropriate decision under the law and on the facts to give this case closure in a sense that would never be realized otherwise. Judge Hippler talked today about, I guess, the fallacy of expecting that there would be some miraculous coming clean and disclosure from the defendant. In the first instance, as the judge said, he doesn't have the power to compel that. We, the state, don't have the power to compel that. As a practical matter, it would not be helpful. It would give him a forum to share whatever he thought to control the dialogue. Not going to happen to our victims. We can't allow that to happen. So, I'll say this with caution. I look forward to your questions. I will be perfectly honest with you. I will answer them as best I can. If I can't tell you the answer to something, I'll tell you that. And I ask for your assistance and your respect as we walk through that, because there are still people who are suffering, and I'm not going to victimize families. I'm not going to victimize the deceased again. And I'll just tell you that if we get those sorts of questions. But we'll get that in a little bit. Right now, what I would like to do is hand the podium over to Colonel Bill Gardner from the Idaho State Police so he can share his agency's perspective.
All right, that was Bill Thompson. Bill Thompson, the prosecutor in this case. He's been there since day one. We saw him going into the house the day after the murders. And before the gag order, he was very open. Talked to Court TV on several occasions, him getting his feelings. Let's break here. We'll get back into that press conference with prosecutors and law enforcement inside the Ada County Courthouse. For Bryan Kohberger, it's over. It's on now to a life in prison without the possibility of paroles, as his victim families try to move on with their lives with the loss of their loved ones. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins outside the courthouse in Ada County, Idaho, where inside an array of emotions were on display in the sentencing hearing for Bryan Kohberger. That hearing is over, but a press conference with law enforcement and prosecutors continues inside the building behind me. Let's go back in and pick it up after the comments from Prosecutor Bill Thompson.
Thanks, Bill. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colonel Bill Gardner, Director of the Idaho State Police. To the families, your courage and strength throughout this painful process, it indeed kept us moving forward. Your strength, and particularly your love for one another, was inspiring, and it motivated all of us. You've carried a burden no one should ever have to bear. This investigation demanded the very best from everyone involved. Crime scene teams, forensic scientists, intelligence analysts, and investigators answered the call with professionalism, precision, and resolve. They did not do it for recognition. They did it because 4 innocent lives were taken, and the victims and their families deserve nothing less. It is clear this case required a team approach. Not only did the Moscow Police Department, the Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho State Police, and the FBI come together quickly, but others provided significant assistance behind the scenes. I'd like to highlight a few of those. I personally want to thank Colonel Paris of the Pennsylvania State Police. Once this case moved across the country, the Pennsylvania State Police went out of their way to provide resources and support while our people were on the ground there. Also, it's important to note that from the moment this case began, Governor Little was fully supportive of the investigative process. He provided funding and support to make sure the job was done right. And finally, as was already mentioned, the Idaho Attorney General's office provided significant input and help during the preliminary motions. We relied heavily upon their expertise as we moved throughout this whole process. As law enforcement officers, we often say that this is more than a job, it's a calling. This case reminds us why we answer that call, why we stand for victims, why we fight. In this case, why we fight pure evil, and why we keep going, even when the road is long and answers are hard to find. In this horrific case, I am proud of the work that was done and the people who carried it out. They exemplified the very best of our profession and helped bring closure to 4 families. I'll now turn the podium over to Salt Lake City FBI Field Office Supervisory Senior Resident Agent, Brett Grover.
Good afternoon. My name is Brett Grover. I'm the Supervisory Senior Resident Agent in our Coeur d'Alene office of the FBI, which is part of our FBI Salt Lake City division. On behalf of the FBI, we offer our deepest condolences to the families of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xander Canoodle, and Ethan Chapin. The culmination of this case was a long time coming, and we hope the victims' families and friends have some sense of peace in knowing that Bryan Kohberger is being held responsible and accountable for his heinous actions. The FBI is proud to have supported the Moscow Police Department in the state of Idaho with the investigation and prosecution of this case. Countless hours have gone into this investigation. The FBI dedicated significant resources to include digital and forensic analysis, intelligence support from our folks at FBI headquarters and field offices around the country, and victim services which continue to this day. Today's sentencing also demonstrates how the responsible use of investigative genetic genealogy, or IGG, can transform a crime scene into accountability and closure. The IGG process involves the use of DNA analysis combined with traditional genealogy research to generate investigative leads for unsolved violent crimes. In late 2022, IGG provided a crucial investigative direction for investigators working this case. But I want to be clear, IGG was just one tool that led us here today. It's a powerful complement to the core investigative work done by both the FBI and our partner agencies. The bottom line is that successful cases like this are about strong partnerships and a shared goal. The goal of keeping our communities safe and providing a measure of justice for the families of our victims. Thank you. I'll now turn the time over to the Attorney General for the state of Idaho.
Good afternoon, I'm Raul Labrador. I'm the Attorney General of the state of Idaho. Today's a heavy day for the families who lost their children, for the community of Moscow, and for the entire state of Idaho. With the sentencing today, a painful chapter closes in one of the darkest and most heartbreaking moments in our state's history. We're here because 4 young lives were stolen from us far too soon. They were full of promise, they had dreams and aspirations, people who loved them, and communities that believed in them. Their loss is immeasurable. Their absence is felt every day, not only by their families, but by classmates, friends, neighbors, and all of us who came to know their names and their stories. There is no sentence that can bring true justice for this kind of evil. Nothing we do today can undo the heartache or fill the empty chairs at family tables. But today's sentencing ensures one thing, that the perpetrator will never again walk free. In fact, he will never harm another family. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Prosecutor Bill Thompson, whose steady leadership has guided this case from the beginning, to the people of Layton County for their trust and commitment to justice, and to the state of Idaho, and to the state, also to the local and federal law enforcement communities who have been focused on bringing justice for the victims. I also want to recognize Jeff Nye, who's the chief of my office's criminal law division, and the team of attorneys in my office who work side by side with local prosecutors. Their contributions were quiet but vital. They help protect the grand jury's work. They pushed back against legal challenges and successfully defended the use of advanced forensic tools that helped identify Kohberger. These were groundbreaking legal efforts done with resolve, with care, and in the name of public safety. Their outstanding legal work spared the families and the public from a drawn-out, painful trial that would have reopened wounds and prolonged the family's agony. When I became the Attorney General 2.5 years ago, I interviewed Jeff Nye. He was not the chief of the criminal division at the time. And I asked him if there was anything he would change in the office of Attorney General. If you get to know Jeff, he had a long list. It was a very long list of things that he would change in the criminal division. But the first thing he talked about was the fact that our office was not helping local prosecutors with their prosecution. It was a take it or leave it kind of approach, that we either took the case and handled all the matter, or we did nothing at all. And he said that there were important cases where we could actually assist in the Office of Attorney General. It's one of the reasons I hired him to be my chief of the criminal division, and I think today culminates the wise decision that he had to make those changes and the important change that we made in the office. This moment didn't come easily. It was the result of tireless effort, careful preparation, and unwavering pursuit of the truth. Behind the scenes, our legal teams worked diligently to defend dozens of legal challenges. Their efforts not only helped ensure a just outcome, they also spare the families and the community from the painful trial and endless appeals that would have reopened deep wounds. To the families of Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, no words from any of us, no legal ruling, and no sentence from a judge can heal what you've endured. But I want you to know this. My sincere wish is that you have not carried this burden alone. Idaho grieves with you, Idaho stands with you, and your children's names will not be forgotten. We honor them, not only with our words today, but with our commitment to protecting others in their memory. I will never stop fighting for the people of Idaho, and I thank every single member of this community who has just reached out to the families and supported them. And may God bless the souls of the victims and the families who have suffered.